were very enthusiastic, really willing to do something. So it's okay, let's go to the waste dump and start collecting these plastic bottles. There's a small joke here. Some people saw me in a short and this, and came to ask my wife, is your husband okay? I said, yeah, I said, what's happening? So we see him there in the bowler, in the waste dump, collecting as a scavenger. So, you know, when I said we are going to do something useful with these bottles, people never believe. It's only when we started, really, we saw that we can use a lot of them, and then we knew that these bottles, when they get buried, for 200 years, if you come back, you say, find them there. And we don't have any recycling waste like they show us in Lagos. So we have to do something with it. And we have a lot of manpower wasting. They don't have any skills. So we say, okay, we'll teach them some skills. If they know these skills, they can at least do something, and they will not be prone to these extremists who use them for their own ends. And fortunately, when we started that, on their own, they started now collecting bottles. We now have in Kano plastic bottle brick sellers. They fill them very well, and then they sell it to people who want to build what they supply. We use them to rehabilitate some of the old city walls that were fell down because of rains and this. And so it's a gradual, so we feel we can dare the population or the society to do something just on our own without waiting for the government to come and tell us do this and do this.
Okay, now let me ask you another question very quickly then. What kind of numbers would you throw at us in terms of the young people who have been converted into moving away from the opportunity of either begging or going to work for insurgents like Boko Haram? What kind of numbers are those young people that are now converted and able to support in creating this waste to wealth project of recycling bottles?
Yeah, as at now we have altogether about 98, and we have about 8 plastic bottle masons trained who can build anything for you. I mean, from a simple bench to a 4-bedroom flat, if you have the design. And then the others are just helpers. I mean, filling the bottles and either working with us or selling them. But in other areas, we have even more other young people. We have trained in assembling, for example, these cook stoves that also use very little piece of wood to curb what they show to curb this deforestation. In that case, we have over 500 young people that we have trained also who are assemblers of these cook stoves.
So in terms of what you do then, how reliable, because we see the pictures, we see the video, how reliable, and you just mentioned buildings up to 2-story, 3-story building, bottles and mud, how reliable, dependable, durable will that be?
You saw one of the inhabitants of such a house is saying that if you take a hammer and hit a block, it just breaks. But if you take this bottle and hit it on hammer and hit it, if you had time, I've shown a small video and hit it, it will just not break. So it's solid, more solid than a concrete block. So okay. You can use it to build whatever. It depends on the structures. If you are able to design your structure very well, it will just stand up like any other solid structure.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, Omolola, let me ask you then. Manuela mentioned 65% of waste that's being converted, that is being used for something else, reusable. In Nigeria, you see the kind of work that you're doing with bottles as well. What percentage would you say, if you have any idea at all, what percentage would you say we're using? Let's start from Lagos, where you operate from.
Okay. So Lagos has the highest number in the country right now. And we'll say about 20% is done. But, growing up, we've had waste being recycled, informally by, people who go around picking newspapers and bottles and things like that. So what we, want to do with Cyclers is create more awareness and, thereby educating people on how to do it, because what we found is so many people have reached out to us and shown an interest in, wanting to do what we are doing or supporting us in one way or the other, but they don't know how to do it. And I believe, at the ECO program that is being launched today will be a useful medium to, create more awareness to people in joining us, We Cyclers, and the other people here today in promoting recycling in the country.
Okay, thank you. Let me ask Desmond then. We know that we call you the evangelist of environment, an activist par extraordinaire. Now, you have been all around the country, you've spoken to so many people. What else do we need to begin to do to engage government and engage private sector to create a level of awareness that will make it such that Nigerians and indeed Africans that watch channels television all around the continent will begin to think we can make 65% a benchmark for us in terms of renewable energies and recycling?
Well, the reality is we've already started. This forum this evening is a big step towards that end. And the awareness just needs to be, it needs to be very innovative. You need to put it across to people. And, you know, part of the challenge that I noticed that we have here, you see, in days gone by, for instance, we have something, there's like a bean cake called moi moi. Now, in days gone by, we used to cook this bean cake inside leaves. My granny and my great-granny, when we go to Abeokuta, they give us this bean cake cooked inside these leaves. And so, you know, when you sort of dispose of the leaf into the nearby bush, you're actually recycling. But the situation has changed. You know, now we're cooking moi moi inside plastic. I don't know, has anybody here had moi moi in the leaf recently? It's very unlikely. You know, so we're having to deal with this sort of new paradigm of the negative aspects of industrialization, of technology. And we just need to, you know, get it home in innovative ways, interesting ways, plays, drama, competitions, different kind of stories and so on. But we need to keep on hammering it away. We mustn't relent. My sister here said something very interesting in her documentary there. She said we must put environment first. And if we change the nomenclature and don't call it environment, call it what it really is, our life support system, then it certainly makes sense that we should put it first. And if we do put it first, if it is our priority, then definitely we'll be able to be very innovative and do massive awareness programs like the one that you guys are doing here now.
Okay, thank you very much, Desmond Majakodumi. Now, let me ask Ms. Chapa, when you have recognized that women are most vulnerable when it comes to climate change and also the kind of instrument and materials that they use for cooking and other things that they do, can you give us some examples in terms of what you have seen over the years with your activism in supporting women? Give us examples of the kind of things that you have seen and the kind of change that you have been able to create for them.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, working with the very rural women, the kind of change that our organization has seen is especially with the farmers, with the rural farmers. You go to the farmers because we work very much with the farmers, and we did a project with the Federal Ministry of Environment targeting specifically at the agricultural extension workers. And when we got there, we discovered that even the agricultural extension workers didn't know what climate change was all about. So communicating climate change to the rural farmers was a huge issue. And when we saw that, we felt that there was the need to be able to communicate climate change, break it down to the language, to the native language that these women will understand. And so we had to devise a different strategy of trying to deal with this issue. We have to look to address them looking at issues of seasons. In Nigeria, we're dealing with seasons. Rainfalls, when was rain, when did you not have rain? And we try to look at those issues, and at the end of the day, by trying to describe these seasonal changes in weather and variations, they were able to understand what problem they have with their products. So in identifying those issues, we also engage them on what solutions they have been able to identify in dealing with these issues. And of course, a lot of them complain that they didn't know what to do. So for us as an organization, we felt that that is an issue that we needed to take up. And taking up this issue, we needed to look at different ways of how we can deal with them. First and foremost, we need to know the kind of crops that they're planting.